Good evening, everyone, and well, all right, there we go.
Excellent. Good night, everybody.
Yep, that about
Rolling
sums it up.
Well,
You gotta love it.
good evening.
Oh,
everyone.
he actually rolled the outro.
Look,
That's
man.
fucking amazing. Yeah, all
Look,
right.
I'm fucking human, okay?
All right.
I'm only human. We're still live, right? Though, like we're still doing our thing. All right.
I want to let everybody know
We're
that
back.
he shushed me for speaking and then immediately burped into the mic the second we started.
This is the bullshit I'm here for on Thursday nights.
So here's the thing. All right, I'm drinking a high ABV beer. There's another burp.
Is it
And
zombie
it's making
crop
me-
dust?
It's giving me no. It's actually this is Founder's gingerbread stout.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at you with your fancy little mug.
This is good.
Oh, this is my earthenware mug that I drink my stout out of.
Love it.
Real
Look at you.
G's drink from a Sake Bless mug. I'm just throwing.
I thought you were gonna
that
say
out
real
there.
G's drink from a sock, and I'm like, my man. I
This
Sake
ain't that
Bless,
kind of show,
yeah.
bud.
I don't really. What you do with your two
Das
socks
Boots.
is your business, Finn. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you're slurping out of your tube socks. So anyway, everybody had. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Boy, oh boy, what a year it's been this week.
It is
Right?
right.
It's been since 5 o'clock today.
God
What a-
damn.
It's
What
been a
do you
fucking
remember-
week.
Do you guys remember Wednesday? That was 3 weeks ago.
I
That was-
know. We went from having like a relatively light show. Oh, you're giving me more rum. Okay. That's gonna go well for me tonight.
Good.
we-
That's what you get for forcing your wife to play
When-
Resident Evil.
When was the last time we, like, as a society, had a normal day?
Well, this is a super abnormal day, so everything else is gonna feel pretty normal by.
Oh boy. Well, you know what?
I
For
do wanna-
everybody in- Go
I
ahead.
do
No.
want to follow up on what Britt mentioned, because this is a good podcast story. Look, let's be
I
clear.
felt bad because I realized that you posted about it on private, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have
It's
said
fine.
that.
It's fine. But look, it's no secret. Like many of us have been playing Resident Evil 4. We'll talk about it more later. I had the urge to like try to introduce my wife to Resident Evil. And we
How'd it
picked a
go?
night. She played Resident Evil 2 Remake. It was her first time playing like a Resident Evil. Honestly, I think her first time playing a horror game ever. You know, this is somebody who plays a lot of like Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Zelda, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so she's well equipped for Resident Evil.
Exactly. And we
Two
picked,
remake.
we picked a day where she had a really hard day at work,
That
unfortunately,
sounds like the work.
and she took a gummy to chill out. And
Oh, Derek, I didn't know that. You're a fucking
Yeah.
chode.
Yeah.
she
wow.
got to the first
so rude.
zombie and got so scared she cried.
You're a fucking
Derek.
monster, dude.
So I took,
Like-
I paused. I got the controller from her because she couldn't figure out how to pause because she wasn't
Wow.
like ready to find the start button,
What
like
the
which
fuck is wrong
she
with
would
you?
normally be able to do. But anyway, so I took it and I was like, okay, it's fine. This is clearly not a good night for this. I said, do you want me to turn the game off or do you want me to kill the zombie out of revenge and then turn the game off? And she went, kill him.
She's gonna kill you out of revenge.
It's been like 2 days. I think I'm safe.
That's fucked, Derek.
Yeah.
That's fucked. Wow. Wow.
You know what? I find it a charming story and one that you both will look back on and giggle in the future.
Yes,
But
we
for
already
now,
are.
She is scarred.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the time. So Vicky can't do horror movies at all, and like a couple months into us dating, she was at my apartment, and I was like, "Hey, let's watch Alien," and she was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, I said it's a tense thriller." I said, "You'll really
You're
like
not
it."
lying.
I
when you say
said
that.
I said it's about an alien, and they've got to get it off the ship. Is it scary? Not really.
Now
I
that
don't-
was a
I
lie.
don't think so.
You
and
went from
so-
not lying to lying very quickly.
And so we're watching Alien, and we're both like sitting in the huge sack, right? And she's got a blanket over her, and it's that part where Dallas goes up into the vents, and he's watching the blinking dot get closer. It's like dude, and with every dot, the fucking blanket like comes up a little bit more. And he's like, I don't see it. And at this point, the blanket's over her eyes, and he turns around, and the alien's like, "Bleh!" And she screams fuck you, and throws the blanket off. And she says, I'm fucking done, and storms into the bedroom and shuts the door. And I just stayed outside the living room and finished watching Alien.
That was the wrong choice that night, bud.
It was.
There's a local theater that does like showings of old movies sometimes, local like art house theater, and they were showing like an original print of The Thing, and so I was there, and the girl in front of me was there with some of her friends, and her friends turned to her and were like, I think you did horror movies, and she's like, oh, I'm fine as long as they're not too gross and nothing bad happens to animals. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with The Thing, but
I'm a dog person myself.
I've never seen a movie ruin somebody's life before.
Well, you didn't see me watching Requiem for a Dream.
Ooh, yeah.
Right after my mom got cancer.
Oh, Derek.
Oh, no.
Oh, Derek. Well, anyway, guys, we're here to talk
Welcome
about
to a
video
video
games.
game podcast.
Welcome to a video game podcast. Now, it's been a busy week, and we've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to talk about our experiences at PAX. First time this podcast has received media badges to a gaming convention, so
And
go
we deserve
us.
it.
Yay us.
Officially.
We're going to talk about the games that Finn and I played. We're going to give a quick shout out to Finn for being the man with the fucking plan on the show floor and scoring some really good context and generally just busting his ass for us. So Finn
is the one who gives us journalistic integrity. At these events.
Finn is just I'm in fucking awe of the mode this guy gets into.
I always feel so
when he's
bad though.
at con.
John's like, "Hey, I'm in the lobby. I want to go get some food." I'm like, "I got like 6 interviews. I'll see you at."
And then I'm like, "But I'm hungry.
And I want to have a nap, and I don't want to be murdered outside of my Airbnb." There's always something with John.
Yeah, you know what? I guess I'll go fuck myself for not wanting to get shot. In my Airbnb.
Again, it's like I said at PAX.
With the huge pile of Modelo cans outside.
It's like I said at PAX. All I wanted was your apology, and now you're forgiven.
Thanks,
He was
man.
like, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to die." I'm like, "That's all I needed."
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the death of E3, and a few much smaller, quick news topics that have been going on during the week. And of course, we are going to start what we've been playing, and I will go first because I'm going to be quick. I've been playing Resident Evil 4. Derek finished it a few hours ago.
Okay. Yeah, let's get the Resident Evil 4 talk out of the way because I think several of us have been playing Resident Evil 4.
So I'm gonna keep most of my powder dry for the reviews. Justin, we're recording our review tomorrow, right?
I think tentatively we had talked about it.
I'm game. Like I'm available all weekend.
This weekend at least. We'll probably have a full review up for everybody sometime next week.
This is a flawless masterpiece of a game. I can never ever I can say this definitively. I can never ever go back to the original Resident Evil 4. I can't.
I don't think I can either. I don't think there's anything about the original that I think about and I go, man, I missed that.
There's not a single thing
except for Ada's voice actor.
I don't know. Ada's new voice actress is also
she does great
doing it for me.
And I'll tell you right now, there is nothing that the remake doesn't do better than the original. When you're talking about obviously the visuals, but more than that, the voice acting, the pacing, the controls, the atmosphere. This is how like my brain remembers that game. Just kind of like sprayed across my television. Everything's there. The perfect pacing is there. The gunplay is there, much better this time. They really amped up the scares in Resident Evil 4 compared to the original, I think. There's just this from start to finish, top to bottom. This game is just flawless, and this is a shoe-in. This is going to win a lot of Game of the Year awards for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And I'll go as far to say that in 15, 20 years, we'll be talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake and how it impacted us and how it was one of those generation-defining games the exact same way we did about the original one.
I think the only reason that might not be I might not agree with that is because the Resident Evil 4 remake comes as like 5th in line of a string of just ridiculously good Resident Evil games. And I mean, I think it's the best. This is the best game in the franchise. It one-ups even Village for me, and I love Village.
It's the greatest Resident Evil game ever made.
Almost certainly. But it's going to be remembered, I think, as like the cap on probably the best run of any. I'm struggling to think of any franchise that has had this good of a run. Right?
No, especially from where it was too.
Right.
Like
the comeback followed by 5 games that are just hit after hit after hit after hit in terms of like quality reception, when the closest thing you come to a miss is Resident Evil 3 remake, which I still think is a fucking excellent game. You know,
this is what I want out of Resident. Like 7 is great, 8 is great. This is what I want out of Resident Evil right here, summed up in one package.
It's real good.
And it like everything feels familiar, but it also feels like the first time you're ever playing Resident Evil 4.
It brought back everything that I like when I think about what I love about Resident Evil 4, right? Every single element and every single like major and minor set piece and everything that makes Resident Evil 4 good to me comes back in some way for the remake. And then there's new things that I love about it and how it plays in concert with the original and in concert with other Resident Evil games.
So Jeff said in chat, y'all are tempting me to play this. And Jeff, this isn't an all-timer, man. This is in my opinion, this is a must play. For flawless
me,
shit.
It's very good.
Yeah, for me, the experience of playing it was, and please don't get me wrong and like think I'm dismissing the work put in, because I'm not. I'm just trying to talk about the sensation. But you know how like sometimes, hey, I've played this game a lot, and you know, oh, there's this like fan mod that remixes some things.
Wow, fuck you, Justin.
And makes a few changes, and you go through and play that, and it's good and it's interesting, but like, and it's still very familiar, but also, oh, there's a few like little flourishes that are different here and there. It's almost kind of what playing this felt like. It was more, it's a more straight ahead, straightforward remake than I thought it was going to be. You know, there was room to do some different stuff, and it's really interesting to me. Like, you know, we're on like a string of remakes and remasters and stuff of a lot of really great games, and this one has a very, like, I think unique approach, because it's not so like tightly adhering to the original, like, you know, like Last of Us Part 1, which is very much just a visual update on top of a previous game.
Right. Yeah, no, this is much more than that.
Also not to like the extent of Dead Space, which like totally reimagined and changed everything. Like, it very closely uses the original Resident Evil 4 as like a script, but doesn't force itself to stay exactly to that script.
Well, and like,
it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, like, I like that. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was just a really, really neat experience. Resident Evil 4 is one of my all-time favorite games. I've played it like 15 times. It was the first M-rated game my mom ever let me buy.
Wow.
So that's a you know, where that game is for me and stuff. So I really I loved the remake. And it's also just, you know, so everybody spent so long being like, how can they actually remake Resident Evil 4? And the answer was just, you make Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. People spent so long being like, we spent years having discourse about whether or not you even could remake this game. And then, excuse me, Capcom showed up and was like, hey, we weren't paying attention. We were kind of busy. Here's this bomb-ass remake. What were y'all talking about? Like, it's fucking, what did Capcom do they made a game to have this much of a comeback?
They actually listened to the feedback that people gave, and they leaned in on making Capcom games. They didn't try to be like, hey, because when they were floundering was when they were chasing trends, right? It was when they were trying to chase trends. They were trying to appeal purely to Western audiences. And then the past few years, they're like, hey, let's make some Capcom-ass Capcom games.
Turns out being true to yourself and making something that's very like earnest in what it intends to be, instead of a cynical, like focus tested cash grab,
Also,
makes really good art.
God damn, Ada. Fuck.
I've been losing it over Moushly on Twitter.
Moushly's great. I love Moushly.
If you all have not seen, there's just a lot of art of Ashley as a mouse for some reason.
Yeah, it's really
adorable.
Weird.
It's adorable.
All right, so that's what I'm going to save.
I want to ask Britt, because I think Britt, you've been playing it. What I want to hear you a little bit.
So I haven't been playing much just because it was a very stressful week for me, and I didn't think playing a game where I was going to get scared on top of my anxiety would help.
Fair.
Wow, fake gamer.
But I did play it today, and I'm actually like I had to scramble to get ready on time because I was playing it and I didn't want to put it down, because the one thing that scared me and why I didn't want to do the demo was doing the village scene where you have to run from everybody. I was like, that's like just right in your face, and I'm not ready to deal with that kind of stress. And I died like once, and then I got through it by just fucking Benny Hilling it around the village. And I did it, and I was so fucking proud of myself. And I was like, that's it. I'm a true gamer. I can do this.
What?
Because I couldn't play Resident Evil 2 Remake because I got too afraid. So the fact that I can do this is huge. Yeah, that's fine. This is huge for me to play, because I haven't been able to play horror games. I'm like Vicky, I can't watch horror movies, but games I'm leaning more into. I can do more, which is why I want to play Dead Space. But yeah,
that's a whole other world of horror right there.
Big jump.
It is. But yeah, I just think it plays really smooth. Leon about to make me act up though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like
my beautiful
Are you
baby girl.
PC? Are you playing on a PC with the shirtless mod?
No, but I will say one thing I love about, in the beginning of the game, they like make a point to say that Leon like worked out and had to go do vigorous training, and that's why he's all like more buff now as opposed to how he was in 2. I just enjoyed that tidbit. It was nice. But yeah,
Wait, have you seen the cutscene with Leon and Luis chained up together yet?
No, but I did see a video of Leon with the shirtless mod and the sunglasses and
the tramp stamp?
No. Maybe I wasn't really looking at that, but in the video, the guy shoots like the scene, like he grabs the shotgun, the scene spawns, he runs to the top of the roof, and he shoots the bell, and it makes all the villagers go.
Yep.
And I was like, the whole time I was like, that's like super impressive, like crazy that people found that out.
There's
Leon,
some really,
though,
There's
like,
actually
really cool skips.
Leon got them fitties.
Britt, did you play the
Leon.
original?
Yeah, of course I did.
Okay, so there's an excellent troll in the village. If you climb up that tower to try to hide up there, like literally everyone did, it immediately breaks and
the
dumps you back
chainsaw guy
down.
was right below me. I lost my shit. I was so scared.
I was like, oh, it's the old. I'm gonna do the old tactic, and I ran up the ladder, and it immediately cracked under. I was
where you could just keep
Capcom.
pushing him down. Yeah, no, that shit broke on me, and I screamed.
Capcom was like, "No, man, you're running around."
Yo, I screamed. Like, there was a really impressive part. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to dodge like 3 zombies at once. It was just a fucking chef's kiss. Like, weaved right through there. I was so impressed with myself. But yeah, it's really fun. I definitely love the fucking just. It's a Resident Evil 4. Like, it doesn't feel like a different game. It's just Resident Evil 4, and that's crazy to come back into. And I also just want to bring up real quick, and it's like, it's crazy that we're getting such, like, video games are getting such a good representation lately, in the sense of like The Last of Us show was a really good adaptation of the fucking game, and now you have a remake, which is just an adaptation that makes people want to play this one instead of the original, and I don't think that's ever been the case with like a remake before. You know, there's a difference between like remasters and stuff. Like even Final Fantasy VII, like people still really enjoy the original with how good it is, but like this game, it's just like people will just fucking love it, and they're like, I will never go back to the original, and I think that's pretty fucking cool for video games.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so
I think
too.
the only other game I can think of where that's happened in off the top of my head is the Dead Space remake, right?
Yep.
Where like people just can't go back to the original Dead Space, but like otherwise,
wouldn't you?
I can't think of another remake where I haven't in some way still felt like I want to revisit the original game though.
Yeah. See, I could still see myself going back to the original Resident Evil 4, but like I don't know. This one just doesn't seem. I don't know. It feels like they kind of exist side by side to me, in a weird way. Like this one almost feels like an adaptation, if that makes sense. But they're both very, very good. And yeah, the fact that this remake is even good, is a shocker. But like the fact that it's so good is.
Did
is
CJ
really
just pop in here for like 2 seconds and then
He
leave?
sure did.
Yeah, and he was just like, "No, there's too many white people. I'm
No,
not
fuck
safe."
this shit. All right, no, that's
Not
like I
on my
said, that we got a lot to talk about, and that's all I got. I want to
Yeah.
save the rest of my shit for the review. So,
Leon.
Yeah, Leon, indeed.
does anybody else want to talk about what they've been playing?
Jeff?
Jeff
You want
Jefferson.
to chime in?
I wasn't going to, but I was saying Britt was encouraging me earlier to embrace being
I'm
grumpy.
encouraging you. Tell it.
So I'm just gonna bitch about MLB The Show really quickly, which I know nobody here cares about.
I
but-
care.
I care about
Aw,
your
thanks,
opinions.
buddy.
I care about you.
So I mean, yeah, I talked last week. I've been playing SnowRunner for a few weeks. I'm still enjoying it. I got like 35 hours now, but like I only paid $5 for it. So if I don't touch it again, I got my money's worth. But I was like, you know what? Like baseball season's starting up. I used to buy every year of NHL in the show. This was back like probably like 2010, 2011, went back when I had money. And I understand the deal with annual sports games. I understand how iterative they are. I understand the crunch they're in to push out an update every year on a shitload of platforms, especially Sony San Diego now, who's supporting all the Xbox consoles on top of PlayStation and Switch. So I sympathize with that, but I'm on kind of like a 4-year schedule now. I haven't bought the show in a little while, and I'm just very disappointed. I think in a lot of aspects. Again, mostly like the presentation, which I mean, like the game still plays amazing, but it's fine. If you don't care about graphics, that's fine. I care about graphics in games, and when I'm paying $100 for a game, I think I'm entitled to care a little bit about the presentation. But like really, I've been playing this game long enough to tell you that like a lot of the other sports franchises like NBA 2K and FIFA look fucking incredible. The player models look amazing. Like the courts in NBA, they've all kind of had like they kind of stay the same for a few years, and then each generation they get like one big overhaul where it like gets upgraded to next gen engine, next gen tech, and everything kind of gets reset. I am pretty confident in saying most of the underlying dressing in this game visually is still running off whatever was built for the PS3. The stadiums and like the backgrounds behind them, like the cityscapes, kind of like stuff you're not looking at in the every play, but like when it's got like the panning shots with the camera, you see like the little cars driving behind, they still look like a little diorama. Some kid like they're higher res, but they still kind of look like shit. And the player models, the eyes are like cross-eyed. I can tell the player models have not been changed in a decade, which is it's just like I thought really finally like we're 3 years into the PS5 life cycle and it's still using PS3
Oh
era.
God, we're 3 years into the PS5 life cycle.
We're pretty close. We're coming up on it.
Oh.
So
I don't like that.
I mean, that was the main thing, and then there's other little things. Again, not a huge deal for me because I haven't played it for years. I was going to start fresh anyway, but they usually, you know, the only mode I really play is Road to the Show, which is like your franchise, create a player and kind of take them through their career. And for a long time, they've let you just import your player and your career from the previous year. So like if you're 5 seasons into your career, you can keep playing till you're like 40 and retire. You don't have to start fresh every time. But this, for whatever reason, this year you can't import your previous years, which yeah, it doesn't affect me, but it sucks for other people. But I think the most disappointing one, I mean, this was an impulse purchase. I actually literally posted in our Discord, like, I want to play the show, but fuck it, I'm not going to support this, like, basic ass, half-ass dump of a game until they, like, update some stuff. And then, like, 3 hours later, I bought it because I found out you could
You're
scan
weak.
you could scan your face into it. I don't know if you guys remember the horror show NBA face scans that were on Twitter a few years ago.
Hell yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
To their credit, I haven't seen anything like that for this. It's just always know that this tech isn't going to produce the results that they want you to think it will. But I was like, I don't care. I want to create a Uncanny Valley version of myself and just hit some dingers. But the app you use to do this is a companion app, and for whatever reason, they haven't updated it on iOS from 2022. So like the game came out like 5 days ago. It's updated on Android. I'm assuming it's an Apple issue with certification, but again, it's just frustrating that they fucking launched the game and the app to use one of the core advertised features of the game is nowhere in sight. So, like I haven't really played it because like I can't really like start my career till I make my player, and I need to scan my stupid face in there. So I'm just drinking.
Is there like a
instead.
web app that you can do it on, or?
No, it's just the mobile app. You just take a selfie and like upload it, and it does the thing. So you just gotta wait. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I played like an arcade match. The game still plays really good. It's really fun. Yeah, it's like the show is always a good. It's gotten a little stale in recent years, but I think 10 years ago, when people were already criticizing sports games for kind of half-assing it, the show always had a reputation of being like one of the ones that was always pushing the envelope and always doing like more than the competitors. And I think it's just unfortunate. It really seems to fall into that same trend. And yeah, maybe it's because they're supporting like 8 platforms now, but just it being a Sony first-party studio, I really maybe was just expecting a little bit more from them on their flagship system. So it's just kind of a bummer. That's all. I'm just kind of bummed today, but I'm glad everyone's
And that's
enjoying Resident
okay.
Evil. Yeah.
Well, don't worry, Jeff. I know exactly what will cheer you up, and that, my friend, is Final Fantasy VI. So Final Fantasy VI starts. I'm
Reset the clock.
I'm just kidding.
Hold on, guys, look. We joke, but really, Final Fantasy VI begins with one of the greatest openings.
It does. Finn, how does it? Finn, yeah, please continue.
We
So
need to kick these two
imagine,
off.
Anything else? to talk
imagine
about
the
this week?
Super Nintendo creating the most cinematic intro ever with 3 Magic Tech suits of armor trudging down a frosted mountain path, slowly approaching.
You gotta give him
the
the John
mining
treatment
town of
from last week,
Narsh.
Eric.
As
You gotta give him
slowly
the John
logo
treatment from last
pans
week.
I
down.
can't. He's never on. I gotta give him a chance.
Yeah. So I'm basically
I can't kick
using
John
the fact that
again
I'm
though.
new.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, you can. That'd be funny.
All right. Does
No,
anybody
we're
else?
good.
Does anybody else want to talk about what they've been playing before we kind of dive into?
Can I get like exactly 2 minutes, and then we'll toss.
I'm going
it
to count
the
you. I'm
first
going to
subject.
time you. Yes.
Okay. The other thing I've been playing, because I beat fucking Resident Evil 4 on Saturday, so I've needed some other time. Is I needed something just bullshit to fill some time for a while, and I started playing the PS3 version of Sengoku Basara 3, which is
what?
Sengoku Basara
It's
is
a Dynasty Warriors
Capcom's.
style game.
Okay.
It's
what
Capcom doing
that means
Samurai
nothing
Warriors.
to me. Okay.
So it's the same like characters, same period as like Samurai Warriors. It's just Capcom's version, which means that it has like a third as many characters, but every character is actually like a unique character with their own mechanics, and it's stylistically way more ridiculous because it's a fucking Capcom game. And it's good. It's one of the best Musou games ever. Y'all know that I like a good Musou game. And it's been fun to just play some ridiculous. Masamune Date has 6 katanas, and he holds them between his hands like this,
As
like
one
3 in
does.
each hand, like Wolverine claws. It's ridiculous. It's just
Eric, I feel like you haven't had a new Muso to enjoy in a while. Like, I feel like
because
it's
most
been
of
a
the
bit.
new Musos suck shit, John.
Well, okay.
I'm a big
I
fan
hate
of
to say
Muso
that.
soup.
I love a good Muso, but my favorite ones are the ones where the game is subsidized by another publisher with money, like Bandai Namco or Nintendo, or in Capcom's case, Capcom just made the game instead of it being a Tecmo Koei thing. But like Samurai Warriors 5 sucked. It doesn't have good game feel. There's no impact behind the animations. It's just like the characters are too samey. A good Muso game needs to have some character action feel and flourish in its animations and sound design. And the characters need to feel succinctly like different enough that it's worth, like it matters which character you pick, and they're not all just the same exact bullshit. But But Sengoku Basara is really good. So if you've got a Wii or a PS3, I've always played the Wii one, never played the PS3 version. It's the same but prettier. They also both emulate really, really well, since those are systems that are not easy to track down working systems or access their eShops anymore. So that's it. Look at that,
Well,
2 minutes. I did it.
Nicely done. Okay, so I guess in that case,
It means it's Finn's turn.
Finn, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about this week?
I
Anything?
don't really think I played anything this week.
Nothing
Anything?
interesting, huh?
I was kind of busy playing games. I didn't have
Yeah.
time to play games.
Yeah.
I was so busy playing video games. I did
We
not
can
have time to
switch
play video
gears
games.
and you can tell us about the games instead.
Gears of War?
Well,
that
well,
wasn't out.
Well, hold on. Let's structure this thing. So there's two much smaller news topics. We'll talk like 5 minutes for both of them, like combined. And then let's launch into PAX, and then we'll finish up on E3. How does that sound? Because E3 is a big deal. First, we'll just real quick mention PSVR 2 sales. Not great. Not great at all. To the point where internally, I guess the rumor is that they are looking at possible price drops to stave off a disaster. And when you talk about a launch in the and you paint it, kind of with the framing of it's a disaster. Like I wasn't expecting PSVR 2 to blow up the world, catch everything on fire, but I was not expecting.
How much is PSVR 2 again?
It's like $529.
Oh Jesus fuck! Well, that's fucking why.
So here's my thing is like, okay.
Also, you can't buy it in stores. Like
y'all
it's only
know
available on
enjoy-
PlayStation Direct.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
But I enjoy me some VR, and I enjoy me some PlayStation, but everything surrounding PSVR 2 just was an immediate turnoff for me. Like I had no interest in it. And if you lose someone like me, that's an uphill battle for you.
Well, like there's no backwards compatibility.
None at all.
Like, none whatsoever.
Way more expensive.
Like I want to say like $150 more expensive or some shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
like upwards, upwards of that amount. There's no killer app like Half-Life Alyx, which I was expecting to like maybe launch with the system. There's you like Finn said, you can't buy it in stores. I don't know. I don't exactly know what Sony was thinking with this one, but I'll tell you right now, there's a PSVR and a PSVR 2. I don't think there's going to be a PSVR 3.
No.
I think
I'll tell you one thing. The biggest mistake they made was not launching with an Astrobot VR sequel.
Yeah,
genuinely agree with you.
Wrong.
Yeah,
I would have
You're not wrong.
100% swallowed all of my other objections if I would have gotten a sequel to Rescue
You're not
Mission.
wrong.
But I did.
It's-
It's like if it's like Nintendo being like, oh man, people really loved critically and commercially loved this Mario game. We don't need another one. Like they even launched the PlayStation 5 with the Astrobot game, but not the flagships. Whatever. I'm gonna ramble. I'm gonna rant.
Yeah.
I hate it. So angry.
And the other quick piece of news is Square Enix charging people for their Pixel Remaster pre-orders, even though there's no release date for the game yet, which is an interesting tactic. I'm not sure I've ever seen that one before.
It's weird. I mean, they're going to be out in a couple of months. It's weird that they're charging
not
before
even
there's
that.
a release date.
So here's the thing, right? Like, so people who have pre-ordered them, or the physical versions, mind you, that were extremely limited and announced at 12:30 at night Eastern time. People received emails in the UK saying, we're going to charge you for your order on March 31st, which is like tomorrow. And then in the United States and Canada, people are being charged on April 5th, which is like next Wednesday. There's no release date at all. So people are being charged for goods and services that there is no actual release date for, which I don't see very often. And there's a lot of people who are, I think, me personally, rightfully like going, hey, what the fuck is this? You're charging me for something that I don't know when it's coming out. But the thing is usually these things are shipped 5 to 10 days after you're charged for them. So I'm willing to bet this is weeks out at this point. Like within the next 2 weeks, you're gonna.
That's probably all true. I mean, like, my attitude is this is kind of a sucky thing to do, right? Don't charge people for a thing when you don't have an idea of when you're going to ship it.
It's not good business.
But this is Square Enix. Like, this is not like a shifty Kickstarter that may not materialize.
Oh,
this
right,
is,
yeah.
you know, everyone's getting the thing that they paid for that they ordered straight from Square Enix. It's just the confounding Square Enix thing of like, I love Square Enix. I love their games. I love I have good relationships with several people who work at Square Enix, and like we all have to agree that sometimes, yeah, we're Square Enix sponsored, but like communication from Square Enix can sometimes be whether it's in regards to like marketing games or like, you know, when it like it's just it's so perplexing. But you know, they're going to be out within a couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, I think what's bothering most people is saying we're not quite ready to reveal the release date to you, but we're charging you for your product.
Yeah, that's just a bad choice.
Yeah, and people are like, well, when the hell is this thing coming out? You're charging me, but you're not ready to tell me when it's coming out. Like,
the outcome is going to be fine, but this is bad on principle.
Isn't that like not that uncommon though for
no,
like,
it's pretty
these, like
uncommon.
limited edition like physical versions? Like I know stuff like limited run and things like that will charge you like right when you order.
But that's an independent company though. Like that's an independent company, not like a publisher like Square Enix, right? Like it's a little different when you're talking about like, you know, like a big third party publisher. And but yeah, it's an irritant. But I think it also means that these things are coming out in the next couple weeks or so. So. All right. So Finn and I attended PAX East last week, and we got to play some video games because that's what PAX East is all about: playing video games and drinking at the Westin lobby. And we did plenty of both. So we also had some bitchin', like I had some bitchin' fish and chips. Like just as an aside, Finn, what did you have for dinner that night?
Had the quinoa power bowl. It was fucking good with grilled chicken.
You had a
quinoa. Oh yeah,
I didn't realize you had a quinoa power bowl. Ugh,
it was good.
Look, I love a good quinoa bowl, man. Quinoa's good.
You have to understand, I hadn't eaten all day.
It's got a good like toothy crunch to it.
It's pronounced quino, not quinoa. So it's quino.
Well, in Final Fantasy 9.
Isn't Quino that character from Final Fantasy 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's Queena. You're thinking of Queena. I'm talking about Quino.
Quino is Queena's brother.
Great. Shut the fuck up, Finn.
We're all
at any rate, we're going to talk about. Let's talk about what we played, what we liked, and what we didn't like. And I'm going to start off with what I didn't like and just get that out of the way. I played Lord of the Rings Gollum, and
it's bad.
It's not great. It's not good at all. Finn, you played it too, right?
It was just go.
It's
just go.
It's so Finn, back me up here. We're talking a game that looks like an early PS3 game. It is one of the ugliest games I've played in years. Imagine Uncharted 1 with the exact same control scheme, but you're Gollum instead of Nathan Drake. And you're hopping around walls, and I'm not kidding. Like it's Uncharted, but you're Gollum. Like you're just hopping along ledges.
Sounds incredible.
There's no combat because if you get caught, the game's over. So it's forced stealth for an entire game.
That can be good. There was that. What was that Goblin game?
Oh no!
Yeah, you're thinking of because of an S.
Sticks, right?
Sticks,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But that's
people
fine because-
broadly like those.
Yes.
Yeah. This is different, Derek.
it's
This is
bad
Lord of the Rings.
This is
Gollum.
that, but bad.
This is Lord of the Rings Gollum we're talking about. And the voice for Gollum sounds like somebody with laryngitis is trying to do their best Andy Serkis impression while they're drunk and underwater. It is not JT.
Oh man! Hey, bud.
Hi, JT. Oh my God, it's been so long since I've seen
What?
Favorite
JT
Vita game has to be Mighty Number 9.
Oh.
We finally got the Mighty Number 9 Vita port.
My favorite squirrel. No, but this is going to be a 4 out of 10 across the board. There's no saving this game. It was one of those games where like 5 or 10 minutes into my because I walked up, I was like, hey, I'm a gaming media, flash my badge, can I play Lord of the Rings Gollum? And they're like, oh yeah, they were like really excited too. They were like, yeah, come play Lord of the Rings Gollum. I think it's because nobody wanted to play it. But I got up there and I within like 5 or 10 minutes, I was thinking up excuses as to like why I couldn't play this anymore. It was one of those games. I'm like, oh man, this is real bad. And so I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm like looking at my phone and I'm like, I'm expecting a call any minute. Sorry.
It's kind of unfortunate because anytime, what studio is it that's working on this?
I don't fucking know.
It's
not a big
studio.
studio.
No,
It's a small, and like to get to work with a license and then like it's just they have to know, right?
I don't know.
Okay, most of the time they know.
They know,
Like,
but they also can't.
It's being
sit
made by
there-
Diddle.
Right.
Finn, you played it.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Lord of the Rings?
Trying not to.
I
on Lord of the
already
Rings.
gave them it bad.
It's
Here's the
not.
thing. I don't think I've seen a official licensed game have that little interest at a show like PAX.
Yeah. There was
but
no
word got around pretty fast. So,
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about this game, but not in the way that you want to if you're
poor
a
Daedalic.
Here's the thing, though. I still really want to play it, even though everybody's just saying
It would be a great stream game.
like
I don't know, man.
it
Like,
just is. It's so morbidly fascinating to me. Like even conceptually,
it's like,
even
who
if
asked for this?
like, even
who
if it
wanted a
was
Gollum
good,
game?
even if it was good, it's still a very bizarre choice, and I kind of just want to see what it is.
Well, there's another game that Finn and I both played that we've been gushing over, and I want to like go to the opposite end of the spectrum here and have Finn open up with Russell Quest.
WrestleQuest.
Because Russell Quest is fucking awesome.
So first off, preference this by saying that I also played this at PAX West 2022 and interviewed the
Yeah, that's right.
devs
You did bring it up.
and
Yeah.
met they have a professional wrestler as their consultant and everything. And but this time, normally if that's the case, I will skip the booth again. Like another great game from last year was Demon School coming out from Isbeard, but their demo this year was the same demo, so I gave it a pass. But WrestleQuest demo this year was new and somehow made the old demo make it seem like a bad game by comparison. It's so fucking good. Imagine the aesthetic of a Super Nintendo RPG, but wrapped up in a wrestling like motif and in a way that you don't even have to be a fan of wrestling to enjoy it, but you'll just get more out of it if you know stuff about wrestling. But it's so charming and fun that it is not a requirement to love immediately. It's so silly and fun, and all the characters look like little action figures because like in your mind you can just picture some kid playing with the they have a bunch of actual licensed wrestlers on top of a bunch of fake wrestlers that they've created, and it's fucking great. The battle system is so good.
So you're like when you're in like an RPG battle in the middle of the ring, like your magic powers are like your manager's heckler powers, and it is the whole thing is just so fucking cool. To kill your enemies, you have to pin them, and it's like a time thing where you got like this bar and there's a thing moving back and forth, like a little dot moving back and forth. And you've got to like hit 1, 2, 3, and then you pin them. And if you don't, they'll kick out with a little bit of health, and then you've got to take them down again.
And then before boss fights, you have to have like one of those like promo sessions where you start talking smack to each other, and the better you talk smack and choose from the dialogue tree, the more buffs and bonuses you get going into the boss battle. And like instead of getting keys to open up doors in the room, you have to get something to jump off of to break the table that's in your way. Like you have to jump off
Finn,
the height of.
Who's your main character, Finn? Tell them who your main character is.
You mean the player character?
Yeah. What's his name?
What's his name?
You don't know his name?
I don't remember.
It's Macho Man Randy Santos.
That's right. The Macho
Sorry.
Man is actually in the
Sorry.
game as well.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
Macho Man. Yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage is in the game, but you're playing as Randy Santos, the Muchacho Man.
Yes.
And
all of the different islands and countries or sections are all based off a different type of wrestling.
yeah, it's fucking.
So there's like a luchador island and stuff, and there's a Japanese wrestling island.
Your
and stuff like
parties, your
that.
stable, like it's so fucking great, dude. Like, I don't even like wrestling, and I had a fucking smile on my face the entire. I was playing with Jared Petty, and
Yeah, he's there.
yeah. Oh, and there was
their booth was right next to theirs.
there was a fucking wrestling ring that they had set up with like wrestling matches and shit.
Yes.
Like it was fucking incredible.
Did you wrestle anyone, John?
No.
No.
They
No.
didn't let us in the ring, but it felt like they had the booth that was the closest to like the old kind of packs with like big bombastic, like gimmicky booths to draw attention.
Love that.
Yeah, no, they had a presence there. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one of those indie games that gets a lot of talk this year. In a year of like Sea of Stars and Chain Echoes, WrestleQuest is a game that you absolutely need to keep an eye on.
It was
May, right, Finn?
May 2020 Trizzle.
Yep, and I think we're going to be getting a review code for that.
Actually, hold on. We are in the running for that indeed. Hold on, let me
I mean, nothing's ever for sure, so.
This one is. We love them. First of all, let me point something out that I gave the team a sake last year, right?
Been bribed them.
And they but they emailed us when I emailed back them like yeah, we'd love to come check out the game. They emailed back and was like, yo, in the move from our studio and everything, like someone lost the sock. And I was like, it's cool. I will bring you. You will be the first and only person that will ever get a replacement sake. And they were so excited to see me. They kept calling other people, all the other dev members, and be like, "It's the socks here. The sock." Oh, it was great. I love it.
Love that.
I love that. That's such a good.
WrestleQuest is just a great fucking game.
You say wrestle really weird.
Yeah, here's the thing. John called me to tell me about some of the stuff he's playing at PAX, and I thought he was saying Russell Quest,
Yeah,
like Russell Brand or something, and I was
I
like,
thought it was Russell Quest.
I was like, I don't.
Listening to
Rustle it up.
This fucking Chicago asshole over here.
Okay, sorry for being from. I have to force myself.
John, I was born in Chicago, and I can say wrestle.
Say, all right, what's on top of a house, Justin?
A roof.
No, it's a roof.
Get out of my house.
I'm from Chicago. It's a roof. What do you want me to say?
Properly.
It's fucking great. Outstanding game.
Yes.
Very easily my game of the show. Finn, I've been doing the talking, man.
That's because I played way more games than you. So once you're done talking about the stuff you played,
well, that's not all I played.
I know that's my point though. So I'm saying like, yeah, I've got too much to talk about, but we got to talk about them because we got a media badge.
I
discounts as content.
I played Dead Island too.
You did.
How was it?
It's not really a John. I've heard nothing but good things.
No, that makes me happy because I counterpicked that shit on the Fantasy Critic League.
Here's the thing: is that a lot of other people
wasn't going to be good.
No, but a lot of people did like it. It's just it's not really for John.
Here's the okay, all right. Here's the thing: I really like Dying Light. Right, like Dying Light was a good game. I haven't played the second one yet. I thought Dead Island, the first one, was ugly, janky, and boring as shit. Some people loved it. If you love Dead Island, you're gonna love this because it's Dead Island, but with a 2 in front of it. If you didn't like Dead Island, this is gonna do absolutely nothing for you. They have not, and Finn, I think you'll probably agree with me on this. They have not evolved the formula at all. It's Dead Island.
How many studios has it gone through?
Several, like something like that. I will say that it does not look, play, or run like a game that has been in development since the beginning of time. It's very jank. It doesn't control well. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. I don't know. Like does it still have Hoodoo You Voodoo in it? I did not hear that while I was playing. But if you like slapping a battery onto an oar and wrapping it in barbed wire and hitting a zombie with it until it breaks, then this is your game. If that's not what you're into, then look elsewhere. I myself was not incredibly impressed.
I will say Dead Island 2 was one of the only major big game releases at PAX, because caveat about this PAX is that it was concurrent with GDC. So a lot of the larger companies chose GDC over PAX, and so
and it was so fucking annoying because there was Final Fantasy 16 shit literally all over the place. Brit, there was a huge 150-foot fucking monitor in the hotel just playing Final Fantasy 16 nonstop, and Square was not there. And it's like, God damn it!
Didn't they do? I thought they did a big PAX presentation about 16.
No,
like a panel.
No. There was there was a panel. There was a panel and they showed footage, but what I'm saying is they weren't actually on the floor. You couldn't go play.
Square Enix wasn't on the floor. Bandai Namco wasn't on the floor. Capcom wasn't on the floor.
Sony, Microsoft, not on the floor.
Right. And that's fine, because PAX for me has always been more about the indie games.
The indies are always the best part. Like, you go and you hope to get your hands on one or two big things to say you did, but it's always about the cool stuff you find in the indie mega booth and out on the outskirts.
Correct. So I'm just going to start by throwing Derek a little bone and say I played Street Fighter 6. Fucking so good.
So fucking jealous. I saw, was it Kenneth Shepard was just wrecking fucking everybody. Just wrecking everybody.
The only person I did not get to play was Ken. And
it sounds like that was a mercy.
Oh, I
could hear Derek gasping
me.
You learned you were playing it.
Yeah.
So that was real good. They had 8 playable characters at the demo. And
Finn, tell Justin about Total Overkill that you played.
Oh yeah, no, so one of the next games we play, we've literally, John and I are in the room talking to the dev as he's showed us through this. And we're both just either CJ or Justin are just gonna love this. So this game's already currently out in early access. But we were playing, we got the first dibs on episode 3. Total Overkill is a love letter to the 90s style of PC shooter like Quake and Unreal and Wolfenstein.
I can see it.
I've seen this game. This game looks
fast
cool.
paced. We played it.
You're going to eat this shit up.
I'm going to tell you, there is a slide mechanic where you have a chainsaw leg and you can.
This is the game I thought it was. Yeah.
And Total Overkill. And I just kept running around and I kept yelling, chainsaw leg. And I'm every time I did it. And the dev is just like trying hard not to break as he's trying to explain things to me.
Yeah.
And the Stride PR gentleman,
God damn
Eric,
it, stop
who's
doing chainsaw leg.
He's like, hey, why don't you tell them about this? And he's like, I'm like, it's cool, chainsaw leg. Yeah. I actually did pretty all right. I survived, and then I died at the end of the new stuff of episode 3, and I'm like, you know what? I did pretty well for a guy that doesn't usually PC first person shooter. And then the dev jumped on.
Can I interject real quick?
You sure can.
It looks like the chainsaw's coming out of your dick.
I mean, it's
not, it does.
But
it's not, but it at first glance you're like, is that chainsaw coming out of his fucking
Very
ball?
crucial for the viewers to know.
It's that's our media journalistic integrity. John's letting you know where the chainsaw comes out.
Stand.
But no, I have to say, when the dev jumped on and showed me what an actually competent gamer can do with it, it was literally mesmerizing to watch in motion. Total Overkill, I had fun with it, but in the back of my mind the entire time was this is the kind of game Justin or CJ would eat up.
Justin is going to destroy this shit.
Well, Justin won't be able to destroy it until it comes out on console up post early access because he doesn't play PC. But CJ, until it comes out, might enjoy it. But I want Justin to put that in the back of his mind that when this gets a console launch, this is your jam, sir. This is your forte.
This is actually one I have been keeping an eye on. There was some content creators I follow that keep track of some early access projects, and this is one that's been on my list. So I'm glad it was good.
It was quite fun. I mean, and it wasn't genreized normal type of game either.
Yeah.
But it just seemed really interesting. And Apogee has been making a resurgence as a publisher / developer of games lately. And it's so I was like, you know what, we'll check it out. And then it ended up being a good time.
Is it Turbo Overkill or
Total? Total Recall, but Overkill. Oh no, is it Turbo Overkill?
I think it's Turbo because I'm not
dumb.
getting
Turbo Overkill because you move turbo, but you do a Total Overkill because you kill lots of people really fast.
I was looking for it. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, Turbo Overkill.
Like everything you guys are saying, like I'm being really quiet, but it's just because I'm looking up like what you guys are saying and just
It's
Yeah,
really
same.
see, I
About
think
it.
one of the coolest things about it is if you look at screenshots of it, the graphics are actually very modern, but they've overlaid this like this mesh over all the graphics to give it a 90s like almost kind of bump map pixelated look to it. So it looks like the vibe of it is a 90s game, but you're playing like a modern shooter with modern sensibilities. And that I think is going to be a running theme of all the games that talk about at PAX is that the overall theme is retro inspired games that play like modern day games and have like modern day like sensibilities and aesthetics and stuff like that, but their gameplay package and graphical look are wrapped up in like pixel art, retro, like what have you, and I love it. It makes me very happy as a
like,
fan of indie.
to really like drive home the chainsaw knee mechanic. Imagine Vanquish when you're
Yes,
sliding
that's a good point,
around.
yeah,
When you're sliding around, only instead your leg becomes a chainsaw.
right, exactly.
Like that's exactly what it is.
So I'm gonna rapid fire a couple of these because there's a lot to talk about for me. I want to first talk. I stopped by the Serenity Forge booth. They had 3 games that I tried out there. One was a upcoming console port of an already existing PC game called Smile for Me or Smile and Nod. I always get it mixed up because I think in my head I want it to be Smile and Nod, but it's Smile for Me. It's a very creepy. Okay, remember those
The name is
creepy ass puppets in the Control game, like the
Yeah.
puppet cutscenes? Imagine an entire game built around that.
Oh, I like that.
It's very disturbing. Like it's all happy and silly and fun, but slowly like the darker overtones start creeping in, and you're like, you play as a person that's on this island that's here to help sad people find joy, and your job is to make all the 22 different residents of the island happy through various means, and it's got it's kind of like a repeating cycle. But you pick up on what you learned before each day to like make more people happy. But it's called Smile for Me because all of the gameplay is using the gyro or the controller to go up and down to nod yes or shake your head no. And that's how you talk to the characters. You don't actually talk yourself. You just smile or nod. And so that one was interesting but creepy and like, I don't know. It was fun, but in a weird way. It made me feel vaguely uncomfortable knowing
One of those things
something
where
was
you
gonna
like
get dark.
remember it.
You just unfortunately probably my least favorite game of PAX that I played was a game called Lifeless Moon, which is the sequel to an indie game called Lifeless Planet. The concept is cool. You play as you're exploring this world that resembles Earth a lot, but the graphics and the gameplay and controls were very stilted and just it wasn't a very fun to play. And it made me feel bad. I don't like walking off of a demo and just having really nothing positive to say. Derek's impression face is looking real good. Oh, we got a new drink. That's why.
Got
Oh,
cookies.
cookies.
Ooh, cookies! I want a fucking cookie. I want
Like-
Brits.
Me too.
I want Brits cookies.
After I played Lifeless Moon, the game I
You're
was
going to hell.
truly there to play was a love letter
Ooh.
to the original Final Fantasy Tactics on PS1 called Arcadian Atlas.
Mm.
And this is this one's good. Like this one was another one I had played at PAX West.
I've heard
but
about
they,
this one.
They showed up with an even more polished demo. Everything about this, if you'd ever played or enjoyed the original Final Fantasy Tactics, this is 100% your jam. Like this game is for you. Everything about it is designed to evoke that nostalgia, but with just some, again, more modern sensibilities and a really fun story.
Ooh, I just looked this up and oh shit, I'm all
Tell
over
me I'm
this,
wrong.
dude.
Tell me, yeah, exactly. Like the story already off the demo seemed very good, and it involves a raccoon that accidentally drinks a magic potion that got spilled on the ground and
Is this
gains
Guardians of the
sentience
Galaxy?
and joins your party as a ranger. It's friggin' this game was so good. The battle system is just Final Fantasy Tactics. The aesthetic, very Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah,
But you know
it
what? If we're not gonna get an actual Final Fantasy Tactics game, then I will lean into the indie sphere to give me the spiritual like versions of these games that the big companies aren't anymore. And yeah, this I was very excited to play the new demo, and it did not disappoint. Let's see, going down my list. I'm doing the games I didn't give Sakis to first because I want to do like the Saki list separately. I played a kind of a Western CRPG called Sovereign Syndicate that takes place in London, but like in a fantasy. It's a fantasy world, but also actually just straight London. But you play as like this Minotaur character, but you're all up in London, and it strong Disco Elysium vibes from it. But the combat is more it's kind of tarot card based on your stats. I thought Justin had a question. I thought you were pulling a me.
Oh no, sorry.
And so Sovereign Syndicate I thought was really good. I picked a character that leaned more heavily towards persuasion and talking, and immediately found myself in a combat encounter and just got fucking wrecked. I did not play the game smart, at least not that part. I had successfully talked my way through lots of other parts of the demo, and then I got to this encounter, and the game, to its credit, gave me lots of chances to back out and just kind of like be like, yo, my bad, but I was like, no, I want to win this fight.
The Divinity Original Sin effect.
Yeah, I did not win that fight. It did not go great. But the game was very fun and interesting. After that, I played this. Okay, there was this one very intriguing game graphically called Paper Ghost Stories Third Eye Open. The whole game is in a paper cutout, like paper doll aesthetic, as they move across like these pre-rendered 3D backgrounds. But it's like it's made by a Malaysian dev and told through the tale of 3 Malaysian kids, and one of them can see ghosts.
Oh shit, this looks cool. I'm
and
looking it up
learns
right
that
now.
some ghosts just aren't very friendly. So it's got like Malaysian horror vibes to it, and the story is told through like broken English and like and it uses like Malaysian colloquialisms and stuff to like make it feel like their childhood. But it's cool because it's got this little thing where like when they tell you something, when something in the conversation is super not familiar to an English speaker, they'll have like a little glossary of like jargon and Malaysian speak, and I thought it was really interesting. It was scary. It was scurry. I don't know.
It was scurry.
It was scary.
Interesting.
After that, I played this really interesting game called Nocturnal, kind of a side-scrolling Prince of Persia-ish game, but the combat was kind of soulsy. I don't know. It was about this. The demo starts where you're dropped on this island. You're returning to this island that's been overtaken by this evil mist that's been turning people into shadow creatures, and you're trying to rescue your sister. And it uses a light mechanic where if the torches go out, then the shadow mist like consumes you. So it's all about like combat and platforming while also maintaining like the fire from torch to torch to create your own path. And that was a fun one. I enjoyed my time with that. Then I played a game that made me think John would really like it, just because the core battle mechanic is nothing but parries. So people that play a lot of Souls games are going to be right at home because your only method of damaging these giant demon creatures, the game's called Strayed Lights. Comes out next month. It's so there was an old PS3 indie game called Outland where you had to swap between.
I remember. But between Blue and Outland was great.
So it's that, but instead of a platforming game, it's a 3D action game.
Interesting.
So you have to swap between your dark and light sides, and only light can counter dark and only dark can counter light. And so your enemies will swap colors, and you have to swap colors to match to beat whatever they've swapped to, and parry at the same time. And also if they flash purple, that's unblockable, and you have to then use the dodge mechanics. And it made every fight really like tense, because if you're not really good with parrying, you're gonna get your ass rocked a lot. But it was a lot of fun. The story is all told non-verbally. kind of like Ori Will o' the Wisp style. But the game was very polished. You can definitely tell it's coming out next month.
Interesting. No, cool. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Moving on past the existing. What's up?
Oh, it's
Hams?
CJ here.
We talking
Oh.
PAX, bro.
It's the boy.
Because I'm the John and I are the only people on this podcast that got to play a game early this week.
Yeah.
No, CJ did. CJ was out of town.
That's
Can't talk
the
about it.
joke, Britt.
Can't talk about it.
That
Can't
was
talk
the
about
joke.
that. I can't talk about it, but
You can talk about what you did.
CJ was
I know
playing-
you can because other
CJ
people
was
have been
playing
boasting
Tears of
about
the
it.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
my uncle who works at Nintendo flew me out to LA, and he gave me. Yo, guys, everything that it's incredible, man. Like Sonic shows up. I played it on PS5. I played it on PS5. It's all NFTs. Incredible, like it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. No, I was in LA. I don't want to steal the spotlight away from Finn. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
CJ,
to.
are you calling in with like a can on a string?
That's what it sounds like.
Hey, Justin. Fuck you? Question.
I honestly cannot even tell what you're saying.
Wow.
He's not that bad. I could hear him good.
Oh, it's not coming in for me.
It's just, I guess maybe my real friends are putting in the effort to hear me. I don't know. Well, think about that for a second.
I'll agree with that.
I'm using my beats right now. They probably don't sound great. Just want to say hi.
Love you.
Hi,
Tom,
CJ.
Bubby.
John, fuck off for that comment in the Discord chat. I was potentially not showing up. All right, I'll remember that, asshole.
Good. I hope you do.
I went to Disneyland for the first time. Actually, I can't talk about what I was doing. I just can't say anything. So on Monday, look out for some coverage of a certain game based on a certain property that's coming out in late April. I'll leave you guys to guess what that is.
I mean, I've seen a bunch of people posting about having gotten to fly out and play a certain game, so
Did they mention it? They told us we can mention it again. I don't.
I don't know, but I saw a bunch of people talking about it. So
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you're allowed to say that you went.
Okay, well, I went.
Yeah, somebody
I went to-
like Steve Saylor posted like the little kit that he got from it.
Oh,
Just say the game. What's the game?
the game is Tears of the Kingdom. John, like, weren't you not paying attention? I
I'm
was
trying to
like-
get this man to break NDA. Damn.
Yeah, John wants me to talk about every individual thing, what every presenter was wearing. That's also part of the NDA. I can't talk about that for some reason. They were really specific. They told me if you mention any brand of shoes that anyone was wearing, like they'll hunt me down and kill my dog. I don't know why, but I just talked about
the dog
Um,
specifically.
they did. But I had fun in LA. My first time out in the West Coast was nice. And I made it just in time to say hi to all my wonderful friends, and apparently Justin, who can't hear me.
I heard that. I did hear that.
Oh, look at that! Look how convenient it is. Look at that. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. Finn, go back to talking about PAX.
You know it,
I'm happy
fam.
you guys went. All right, take care.
All right.
Later,
buddy.
bub.
Got
Okay.
anything else, Ben?
Oh, bruh. Yes, that's when I told you this was a lot. I wasn't lying.
I told you we were gonna be hurting for time tonight.
Yeah. But I haven't
If
been
there's
on in a
anything to
while.
go
and
over
there's-
for, I think video game coverage at an event.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
Yeah. So the next game I played actually dropped yesterday or like this week, and I was very surprised, but it was really good. John, this is another one I think you might want to check out, called 9 Years of Shadow, a
I've heard of this.
Metroidvania
Yeah.
with absolutely stunning pixel art graphics. Just the demo evoked strong like Symphony of the
Look that
Night vibes, but what's really cool is the whole game starts black and white. You play in black and white, and then as you progress, the world gets more color. And
Sounds like
it's
the movie Pleasantville.
a little bit, except very fun game. I mean, it's
Oh, this
it's
is
a
great.
Metroidvania game, and so you know what to expect in that, right? But the twist on this one is you get different suits of armor in your in this game that grant you different abilities. Like there's the Poseidon armor that lets you swim. There's the Gaia
So
armor.
Mega
that lets
Man
you travel
ZX
to-
Advent.
Yeah, exactly. But the combat is so good, and it's got this really cool mechanic where you have this floating teddy bear looking like spiritual helper thing, and
Okay.
you have this meter, and if it runs out, you die. Like, not actually, it can run out, but if you get hit when it's run out, you're out. It's a one shot. So the meter doubles as your like energy shield of sorts. Every hit you take takes a chunk down. But also when you utilize your long distance attacks, it also depletes that meter. So it's risk reward. Do you want to go for and melee attacks replenish it, or if it's out, you can hug your little bear and it'll refill it all the way, but it you have to stand still. So do you risk reward it in combat? Are you going for the more powerful long distance attacks, or do you want the kind of comfort of knowing you can take a couple hits? So it was a very interesting, fun game. I loved my demo of it, and then I found out it was already out, and I'm like, oh shit, cool. $15 on like platforms.
Yeah, this is very pretty. I'm looking at it right now, actually.
After that, I played Wargroove 2. Bless you, Derek.
That looks very pretty.
Again,
Wargroove looks very
if
pretty.
you've
Wait,
played
Wargroove what?
Wargroove 2.
Wargroove 2.
Oh
Was
shit! I didn't know they're making a second.
Chucklefish was there with the demo.
All right.
If you liked Wargroove 1, you're in for a treat. This demo focused on their new gameplay mode, so it's going to have a full campaign like always. And if you played Advanced Wars, you're going to feel right at home. If you played Wargroove 1, you're going to feel right at home. The new demo mode, the new gameplay mode is a roguelike mode where you are given a group of characters and you have to get through as many combat encounters as you can without being able to buy new ones or replenish your health, except at specific points and maps where you can like maybe recruit a new unit or heal an existing one. But if you lose a unit, like that's it. And you got to see how far you can go. And as someone that doesn't generally like roguelike games, that mode was quite interesting. But it's just Wargroove, and that's a good thing. The new beat 'em up Toxic Crusaders was there, which if you played Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, it kind of gave you vibes of that. I regret to inform you, a friend of the show, Stormy, and I played it, and the gameplay is fun. It looks great. The vibes.
I heard it doesn't run great or something.
It ran fine. Like we didn't have issues with that. The problem is of the depth of combat. So like
it's real shallow.
It's you have a light punch, a heavy punch, a jump, and a dash, and a super. And you don't unlock any additional moves or abilities or anything to like kind of flesh it out. And the problem is each enemy is like a damage sponge. So we felt like, at least in the demo, the enemies took far too long to kill so all you're doing is kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And the fact that there wasn't more variation to the combat really hurt it by the end. We're kind of like, wow. So this was only level like one stage. We're gonna have to repeat this like, so I don't know. I feel like if it was a Game Pass game, it'd be a fun stream thing, but the lack of depth to the combat, especially following up Shredder's Revenge, which is going to be what people compare it to, because that's the closest thing visually and release date wise.
Yeah.
It suffers. So
What was this game called again?
Toxic Crusaders, based on the old like 80s, 90s animated
I was looking
series.
at that one, so that's
Yeah. Only a couple more left that weren't Saki winners. So Vernal Edge was actually going to get a Saki, but I had already given out the Sakis. It was one of the last games I played at the show. Another Metroidvania style game. This one also with a really interesting battle mechanic where you have to juggle like melee enemies to build up a meter that you can then, if they have shields on them, you have to tag them with this like burst thing, and then you can, once they're tagged, you can start hitting them with like these super moves that break down their shield and stagger them. And it made combat a lot of fun, and just visually, again, very pretty. The story was actually really interesting. Like even just from the demo, I got Shantae vibes.
Ooh.
Pretty hard. Tempest Rising. I want to wait for Derek to come back for this one, so I'll jump to the other last one, which is R2, a 3D like action game, but again, whole world white, black and white, and you play as this character who has been blessed with the power of like color, and you fight with a paintbrush, and as you fight and move around the world, you fill it in with color. And visually, for an indie game, absolutely stunning. Combat with a PC and keyboard and a mouse, keyboard and mouse, not my favorite, but if you gave me a controller, which it supports, I would have enjoyed the combat a lot more. But just concept-wise and visually, it was absolutely a big surprise for me. Oh, Derek's not back yet, so I'm gonna keep going on with I'm gonna jump into the Saki winners. Saki winner number 1 was Moonlight Pulse, yet another Metroid game, because in the indie sphere, there's just going to be a lot of Metroidvanias, but as long as you do it something different in the field and do it well, I'm always going to be ready for another Metroidvania game. That's just me as a player. Moonlight Pulse, it's I don't want to call it a gimmick, but its mechanic that sets it apart is you have 4 playable characters that you can swap between at any time. And each one has a different ability that lets you traverse the world, whether it's one that can slash with claws and dash jump, one that can attack from afar and bubble things up to like move them. And those are the only 2 characters that we got to play in the demo. But this one had very strong Ori vibes just from the game, the graphic design and look. But the gameplay mechanic of swapping between multiple characters, each with their own ability, made it interesting. I liked it a lot, and it's one of those made by a single dev games, which always ends up impressing me more. There's just something about that. I love it. After that, we already talked Wrestle Quest, which got a Saki, but the most wild thing I think about this PAX was that there was a second wrestling-based RPG.
I
on the
forgot
floor,
about this. Yeah, and it's so easy to confuse the two.
and it's called Wrestle Story. But it's easy to confuse their names, but the games themselves are so delightfully different and invoke different types of RPGs that both will be able to stand out on their own. So Wrestle Quest, I think, hits a little harder for me and John because it's based on the Super Nintendo era of RPGs, right? Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, stuff like that. Wrestle Story is more PS1 GameCube style. It's more based on Paper Mario and Mario RPG mechanics, where it's all about button timing to hit your attacks or defend properly. But again, it is a wrestling-based RPG coming out at the same time as another. It's a wrestling RPG equivalent of when Shark Tale and Finding Nemo both dropped, and you're like, how do they both make these concurrently? Like it's crazy, but Wrestle Story, I like their plot, which is the 5 lands were lorded over by the benevolent baby faces, and then these 5 heels showed up and took them all down, and now you have to restore peace and order to wrestle the wrestling land. And again, just vibe wise, it's they're both so good. Derek, we were talking about how there was actually a second wrestling RPG on the show floor.
Yes, I saw that in your thread.
It was really good.
It's crazy.
So Wrestle Story got one, and now that Derek's back, I can talk about my last not Saki game, which is Tempest Rising, which is a PC RTS game. Which, if Arcadian Atlas is a love letter to original Final Fantasy Tactics, this game is unashamed to say it is a love letter to classic Command and Conquer strategy games.
Okay.
I've never played a single one of them.
Red Alert, but with modern technology behind it, and it's so good. It was so good. The demo mission was just, again, I felt like I was at home. And again,
I'm bad at all of those, but I love them.
If EA is not going to let Westwood make an actual Command and Conquer game, then leave it to the indies. THQ Nordic stepping in.
Hell yeah.
So back to the Sakis. Pacific Drive, probably the biggest named indie on the show floor because it's the one that got featured and debuted at a Sony State of Play. It's the game where you play in the...
I'm super excited for this game. It looks so cool.
It is. It's fun. It's a roguelike in the sense of like you're in a time loop. And each time you need to progress a little farther, build up your car a little more so you can survive more of the anomaly. You're driving around scavenging for parts and gas, trying to get from safe zone to safe zone. And then after a certain amount of time, the anomaly clicks in. Once it officially reaches you, time loops back and you start back where you were, but with like more things carried over. and just graphically and visually, like you can tell it's not your standard indie game. The level of polish, you can see why Sony took a liking to it and wanted to make it like one of their featured games. Like it's on that level. I guess I have to do the disclaimer that I used to work with the game's narrative designer.
Oh wow! Now I
Okay.
fucking now I fucking get it, Finn. Now I understand it all.
Well,
This is
what's
why
That's
you
funny
the
love
is
only
that game so
reason
much.
any of us
No.
were interested
But
in
the
that.
funny thing is the demo doesn't show off any of the plot, probably because they don't want to spoil it. So when I gave them the sake, I was like, because she was at GDC, I was like, hey, I want you to know, and I want you to let her know that this sake is in spite of the narrative of the game. And I got a message. It was like, do sakes feel pain? Because I'm gonna burn that thing when I get to the office. I thought it was hilarious. So anyway, only a couple left. I
Have they
appreciate
sent
you all
us a
sticking
picture
with
of
me.
a burning sake yet? I want to.
Not yet. So, Mage Seeker was another big get for us. That's the new RPG by the makers of Moonlighter that's being published by Riot Games. It's a action RPG that's officially a League of Legends story. But I think, and the most important thing I took away from it is you do not have to be a fan of League of Legends to enjoy the game. Like the story stands on its own because it's a character I'd never heard of or played because I dropped League of Legends years ago. But if you're coming off of the high of enjoying Arcane and want a new experience, following the Ruined King, which is a classic turn-based RPG set in the League of Legends world, this is now an action RPG set in like it's got Diablo vibes, but not like in the looter sense, but in the hack and slashy sense. But it's really cool. Mechanic is he has this chain. He's a mage that if he hooks an enemy with a chain, he can steal their ability. And then utilize it just once.
That could
until
be.
you have to steal it again.
Huh.
And so you're running around stealing abilities, using them. Eventually, you get to craft your own permanent and
So it's
have
like
like a
really
wheel.
violent Kirby.
A little bit. Yeah, but graphically, again, the pixel art absolutely stunning. You can tell that Moonlighter was a great RPG that I loved from the
Yes.
previous packs. But you can tell that this is what this team can do with Riot money. And they are showing off their chops. Even if you care, I guess my main takeaway that I want people to know is even if you do not care about League of Legends as a property, this game is just a really fun action RPG.
I have to start
It's
checking out
top-down-
some of these
it's
other
top-down
League of Legends
isometric.
games.
I recommend Ruined King and Mage Seeker. After that, I had Mina the Hollower. Talked about it last time from PAX West. It's the new game from Shovel Knight creators.
That's all
Yacht
you need to
Club Games.
say. I mean, shit.
It's their new game after Shovel Knight, and it's the one that it's their take on Link's Awakening. It is a Game Boy inspired Zelda game, but with a creature called Mina, who is a hollower, and it's a play on the fact that the main gameplay mechanic is she can hollow underground and pop up. You attack. This new demo build from PAX West showcased a bunch of the new weapons, and there's really not much else to say. All you had to know is it's the new game by Yacht Club, and
Yeah.
you're gonna give it a shot. They've earned that much. But the good news is they're not resting on their name. Like the game is friggin' solid. If you have any love of classic Zelda games, top-down style, this is going to be your thing. That leaves me with my last couple. I'm going to say this one next because in chat, Drew Virus was asking about it. Slay the Princess. Go download this demo right
I saw
fucking now.
everybody talking about
Everybody
this one.
was
All
talking
right,
about
this is how I saw it, and I was like, I don't know if that's really going to be a good thing for me to try out. And then every one of our media friends was like, yo, have you played this yet? I'm like, no, I'll go play it now. And I went, it's a choose your own adventure style narrative game. And so I ended up turned into like a audience participation thing. And I was asking, like, a crowd had started coming to like watch me play. And I was like, what should I do? And then all of our friends showed up and they were watching. And then the devs were like trying to lead me astray. One of them was like, choose this. And I did. And it was a terrible choice. And they were cackling. How dare they? And it's such a unique premise. The voice acting is so unsettling. It's got a really great meta vibe to it. You have this narrator narrating the game, and then you start talking to the narrator, and the narrator's like, no, just fucking do what I'm telling you. Like, if you don't listen to me, things are going to be bad. Like, the game literally starts with, you're on this woodland path. Ahead of you is a cabin. Inside is a princess. You need to kill her to save the world. And you're like, what? And like, yeah, you heard me. Fucking go do it. And from there it goes in wildly different directions. The demo at PAX had 8 different endings. It gets dark, it gets weird. There was one part where the princess is stepping on your neck and someone behind me was like, hey, step harder, mommy. And I'm like, this turned into a different kind of game right here. But that was probably the most surprising demo because I had no idea what it was and had no expectations. But then everyone was like, try it. And I did. And it was Chef's Kiss.
Jeff's Kiss?
Chef's Kiss and Jeff's Kiss.
I thought you said it was Jeff's Kiss, but I'm saying Jeff's Kiss from now on.
After that was Elsie, which is another roguelike game that I just didn't think I would care for because I'm not a big fan of roguelikes, but like 30XX before it, or Dead Cells, or something like that, it transcended its genre. It's Mega Man X, but amped up to 11, just fast-paced Mega Man style roguelike action where you build up your abilities and you get more and more weapons and you get crazier and crazier passives as you progress until you're just exploding things all over the place, and it was so satisfying. This is the one that I think I got the most absorbed in. Yeah, Drew Virus, Gerard the Completionist. This is his game. He's like bringing it to the world. And I sat down for a 15-minute demo, and I got up 45 minutes later. That's how much I got into it. I didn't want my run to end. I kept going. I was just like, I guess I was just that good. But no, Elsie was really good. And then finally, probably one of my favorites of the show, top 3 easy. Feel free to look this up because this is a perfect Finn game, Gravity Circuit. A throwback to Mega Man X style games with a very retro pixel art look. The trick is it's close combat.
Okay.
You punch and kick things, but then also add in a Super Metroid grappling mechanic. So if you've ever used the grappling hook in Super Metroid, the way it uses it with momentum, it's the same. So between that to grappling hook enemies closer or grab them and throw them, and then the close combat and then shooting off abilities, and you can get passive chips for your little robot. But I mean, it has 8 robot masters. But you don't get their ability at the end. You just get more buffs and stuff, but the game was so good. It played so smoothly. It's another single dev like joint. Oh man, it was really good. Oh shit, I missed one. Sorry guys, I have to talk about this one. No, I have to. Because I don't know how to put it. It's Dan Adelman's new game. He's the one that helped produce and bring forward Axiom Verge.
Yeah.
He's not the dev. He's the person that just like does all the publishing and marketing and stuff. So this is the new game he's chosen. Animal Well is, again, stop me if you heard this, a Metroidvania style game, pixel art, but it's a lot like Tunic or Fez in the sense that like nothing in this world is what it seems, and there's so many layers.
Fuck.
It is so weird in such a good way. Like you can tell there are so many secrets to uncover. Like whatever the story is, we don't know. The full game was for play, but it was a timed demo, and it did the most brilliant thing I ever thought of. It was so good. As your time, the last 20 seconds, the curtains started closing on the screen, and your view got smaller and smaller. So you can still play, but it's closing, and then the curtain closes, and your demo is over.
That's clever. I like that.
But like all you can do is jump. You're a little blob. Don't know what the plot is. Don't know who we are. Don't know what we're doing on this world. But immediately you can tell. Like it's this like, I don't know how to put it. There was just something about the game where you can tell something about this game is different. Something about this game is special. I cannot quantify it. I do not know how to properly convey it to you. But there was something about this game that immediately makes you want to delve into this world. I guarantee you there are going to be Reddit threads and Discord groups dedicated to uncovering the secrets of this game, much like there were in games like Tunic and Fez. And those are the games I played at PAX, yo. Whew, that was a lot. I'm so sorry to talk for so long.
Well, we probably, I would say, don't have time for E3 tonight.
Well, it's okay because nobody has time for E3.
Yeah,
That's why they had to cancel.
Oh, Derek.
Oh,
Derek.
No,
that was good.
So we will. So we will discuss it next week because it definitely has implications.
Unless like
for the industry going
massively bigger
forward.
news comes up, yeah,
Right.
we're gonna make some time for it. 'Cause it's a pretty big deal. I feel like
Also, just like I thought it was so funny that Jeff Keighley had those fucking tweets ready to.
you knew he
go.
had them shit in the
Like,
draft.
That's perfect marketing because real talk, ever since E3 died out, Summer of Games has become E3.
it
Yeah.
has,
And
like-
he's just capitalizing on it in a way that you know is pointed and purposeful, but never comes off as mean. Like the tweets themselves are not like, haha, they suck. It's always like, hey, Summer Games is going to be pretty awesome. It's
Yeah.
just perfect.
Wink,
It's
wink.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
hear more about Kojima's fucking movie podcast. Like,
fucking love it.
All right,
First look at
guys.
Death Stranding 2.
We are past our time here, and I got to get to bed because I got to be up early in the morning because I got a busy day tomorrow.
yeah,
Um,
I'm excited because given the indictment news today, me working in news, I'm gonna have a kind of a crazy day tomorrow. And
me too.
John, you working in an ice cream truck in
Yeah,
DC,
It's
you're also gonna have a very busy day tomorrow.
it is
So-
yeah. it is
also
a lot of
me being unemployed, fucking busy as shit tomorrow.
Hell
let me tell you.
yeah.
busy as shit
Let
playing
me tell
Resident
ya.
Evil.
Hell
We're gonna
yeah,
play
my
I
Resident
good
Evil.
want
bitch.
to say one thing is that if tomorrow I'm going to put together, I did a thread of my Saki award winners, but tomorrow I'm going to talk more about the actual like games themselves, like all the games I talked about today. I'm going to have like more of an in-depth look at them. So if you want to know more about any of the games I talked about, please keep an eye out.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, and with that, we are gonna go ahead and cut it off here. We're gonna be recording our Resident Evil 4 remake review this weekend, so be looking forward to that next week. And unless nobody has anything else, guys, take care of each other and remember, Jeff's kiss.
Jeff's
Mwah.
kiss. Mwah.